What's up, everyone? It is Daryl Woods with the Master Your Day, Master Your Life podcast, where we deconstruct the day of the exceptionally successful. And today, we have a super special guest that I'm excited to kick off with. It's going to be an exciting program today. He's an educator, he's a speaker, he's the author of the Translating Success book, creator of the Restorative Power program, a curriculum that's impacting students and people around the country. And now he's helping folks around the country create their own curriculums and impact in their community. So with that being said, please, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Carlos Malave. Carlos, how are you, man?
I'm good, man. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure to have you. It's an honor to have you. And you know, I'm a guy. But you look clean, man. I gotta give it to you. That ball, you is it ball? Is it
Yeah, it's ball.
Okay. we gotta own it, man. No, man, but we gotta stick together. Us ball folks. But it's an honor to have you on. And today we're going to be talking about some awesome stuff. But when I look at your bio, when I think about all the different things that you've done, all the things that you've accomplished in life, I know that there was a pivotal moment for you. And it was a pivotal moment when you began to take your day serious. So I want to know, what was that pivotal moment for you when you began to take your day serious?
There were a couple, actually. Some more serious than the other, but I would say my last year in college, I went to SUNY Cortland, upstate New York, and I remember I just had this feeling, this gut feeling like I was meant to do more, right? I had a degree. I was prepared to graduate college with a degree in education, but I just said to myself, like, I need to do more than just teach. I felt like I was meant for more. And I just remember having that feeling and fully owning it and starting to think about how to do more and start connecting with people that were out there doing more and placing myself in situations where I can learn and grow. So I started getting super involved on campus, became a multicultural life intern, um, president of many clubs, Caribbean Student Association on campus, and several things that I was doing on campus to put myself in position to just grow. And then when I graduated college, I got into the real world and began to learn from real life experiences with family, work, and with relationships. And then in 2019, everything changed. I was speaking for about, I'm coming over like 11 years now speaking, along with teaching in a decade. So along that
Nice.
time, I was trying to find my niche and build my program and find something that I can make the most impact with. And I got into restorative practices and I became a restorative justice coordinator on the campus. It connected to what I was already talking about. It was something that I could do on a daily basis to support students and staffs to live restoratively and deal with conflict and be able to resolve things in their lives and get to the root cause of things. So in 2019, I was doing the work on campus. I was building my program and building my curriculum. And then in January 2019, my father committed suicide.
Wow.
And that's where everything really switched for me. Everything just clicked. I was very close to my father. He dealt with a lot of trauma growing up, and his job was to protect his children. He had three children, protect his children from experiencing what he experienced. But I was the oldest, so I got exposed to more things growing up. He had those conversations with me to try to learn and build these practices in himself, but it was quite difficult for him, and he was tired. So I was along the process, doing the restorative work with my family with my father since I was 11. So that's when everything clicked to a whole nother level. I had to I had to figure out who I was fully. Before I was finding out who I was finding the niche, I was becoming who I was gonna become, and then my father passes away. He takes his own life, and then it completely shifts. And I have to really discover myself and find out what will make me not want to jump and have my daughter question why daddy did it.
Wow.
So when that happened, I think that's when the biggest click happened with my work, with the curriculum, with my speaking. Everybody says you have to go through certain things to be able to make an impact and connect with people. I wouldn't wish this upon anybody, but I think this gave me the power to feel empathy to the most level. Like I had days where I didn't want to get out of bed, sobbing, crying. And then through that process, going to therapy, finding out, and it's still working as a restorative justice coordinator on the campus and maneuvering through that experience and finding the power in my vulnerability. I think finding the power in my vulnerability has channeled this different this different aspect of me that has put me in position to connect and make the most impact that I've ever made in my life. So
Wow.
with this unfortunate situation, it's gotten me to be able to click and take it to the next level.
Wow, that's a amazing story, and I couldn't even imagine that situation, right? And one
Yeah,
thing about those types of situations, like you said, it brings you to a place where you can relate on a much deeper level.
for sure.
And when that happened, I can imagine that it was a dark moment for you, and
Absolutely.
everyone faces, it may not be as dark as that moment, but everyone faces that, their version of that. And those moments can either hold us back, or it can, for you, it catapulted you,
Yeah.
right? So what advice would you give for someone out there that may be facing, it may not be the exact same, but they have that dark moment? How can they, I don't want to say leverage, but that might be the a word to use, but how can you
Mhm.
harness, is probably the better
Yeah.
word, how can you harness those dark moments to create a better life?
That's a great question. And to think about it, I go back to the experience. My father attempted suicide a time before, and I was on the phone with him. And I haven't told this story much, so you're getting an exclusive.
Wow.
But I remember trying to help him through it and feeling guilty that I wasn't doing enough. And this is where the click happened as well. I had to go through the process of going to therapy and discovering myself and my purpose all over again and understanding that there's only so much you can do, right? My job isn't to save people. It's more about giving them guidance and being there, and then leading by example. Now, the person has to do the work. I also have to help and guide the person to do the work themselves. Now, my father and I's dynamic was very different and unusual. Like, since I was 12 years old, my dad was asking me for relationship advice and was asking me questions that I thought he should be giving answers to me for.
Hmm.
And if I honestly, it felt odd, but I something happened in my transition as a teenager that I just said, this is what it is, and I accept it. I can't fight it anymore. So I just started building off of that. But the best advice I would, to go back to your question, the best advice that I would give people on here when you're going through a dark time, a serious situation, is look at it for what it is and don't blame yourself. When, in particular, with my stuff, I was blaming myself. I was taking fault in it. My father called me right before he did it.
Wow.
And I felt super guilty because I was able to work with him through the first time and then got him the help and we worked through it. And then a couple months later, I missed his call and I was working with some students, ironically, talking about their fathers and their relationship with their fathers and their difficulty with communicating with their fathers. And he had called me, I missed his call and he didn't pick up. And I felt guilty for a whole year after that had happened. And I had to do the work of, like I said, I went to therapy. I really did the work of practicing what I preached
Hmm.
and diving into the work. And I had to like live what I was preaching to these students and to these staffs. The work that I was doing, I had to make it a lifestyle. So that's why I say with my restorative power program, it's a lifestyle. It's not something you do within the confines of 6 to 8 hours a day. You have to live it, you have to breathe it so that it can be genuine and organic. So don't blame yourself so much going through this period and find that find that light through the darkness that will get you to seek purpose to make something better out of this. So for me is I do everything that I do aligns with my speaking, the curriculum, when I'm helping people develop their own curriculums to get into schools, is so that more lives are exposed to a type of work, type of mentorship that can guide them so that what happened to my father doesn't happen to more people. Because
Wow.
I believe with my curriculum, I truly believe if my father was exposed to this work a lot sooner, like the power of vulnerability, right? He would have had the skills to be able to maneuver through his dark period because life is all about ups and downs. It's all about learning the skills to keep on going up, right? And my father didn't get that exposure. He had a lot of trauma growing up, being poor, being bullied, his father dying at 4, his mother being abused, his sisters being abused, and constantly and running away from all that and creating something different that he'd never seen before in his family with his own little family and his children and his wife. It was difficult for him to make the full transition without owning what happened to him and talking about what was really bothering him to actually get over the leap. So with my work, it's kind of helping people get to that point a lot sooner and exposing them to the work at least. So that is my mission now on our side. So to find the light through the darkness and connect it for a bigger purpose than you now.
Wow, that's amazing. And when you say connecting it to a bigger person, bigger purpose, the thing that comes to mind is, what we always hear, right? Having a why,
Yeah.
and having a why behind every single thing that you do, having a why behind your purpose, and really what drives you. I like to think of your why as like the thing that fuels you. And
Yeah.
I said this a long time ago, but in my book, but it's all about our dreams is like a rocket ship, right? It's a
Mm-hmm.
rocket ship to a bigger, a better place, to the moon. But really, what fuels our rocket ship is our why. And a lot of times, one of the reasons why we give up on things is because we don't have enough fuel in our system to push us to keep going. And
Like,
it's all about having that why that drives you. That's going to make you want to do the small things so that you can create the big impact that you want. So, but thank you so
Right.
much for being vulnerable and sharing your story with us today. I think it was amazing. And one another part of your work is your book, Translating Success. I
Yeah.
absolutely love that book, Translating Success. And one of the tagline of it is using the small things, right? Transforming your life, the small things, in order to create big impact or big wins in your life. So
Yeah.
how does that come into play with your work, with what you teach students and everything else?
Yeah. I wrote the book in 2017, and the purpose of the book was to try to, every chapter, I gave a little piece of my life, different aspect of my life. And I try to show that success is seen in any aspect, right? And it all connects. And once you translate that, right? I grew up in a bilingual household, right? So I noticed very quickly that two words can look completely different, but mean the same thing,
Nice.
right? So with that concept, I opened up the book talking about my lifestyle in the household growing up, how I was confused and complex with that, and then realizing that, when I connected it to the same principles of my brothers and sisters are getting A pluses in high school, I am struggling to get B's and C's, right? But
Don't you hate
finding
that?
my, huh?
I'm sorry to cut you off. Don't you hate that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I'm gonna let you get back to it, but I can relate to that because my brother was like a 4.0 student without trying. Like
yep.
he like one year he broke his leg playing football. He got the same GPA as me being out of
Wow.
school for 6 months. But go ahead.
Wow. Nah, listen, I'm the oldest, so it was even worse. I'm the oldest. I was an
Oh man,
athlete in the
yeah.
household. My brother was valedictorian. He wore the white suit at graduation. He spoke at the graduation. He got a 4.3 full scholarship to college.
Wow.
Like, I was in the household with him.
Yeah.
This
Wow.
dude doing, but I look back at some of the things he was doing, and it was crazy. Like, he would wake up at 4 a.m. in the morning just to get some extra studying in. And I was like, yo, this dude is great. But I kind of connected it to what I wanted to do and what I was my strengths. So I would wake up and I would go get my shots up, my reps, because I wanted to be a basketball player, and I was fortunate enough to get a scholarship to play basketball at the next level.
Nice.
But it was about those principles, right? So connecting and translating it. I would see my brother do something, and here I seen his success from it. So I was like, okay, let me translate that to my own values, principles, and successes that I want to achieve.
Right.
So with that is what the book is about, like seeing those differences in your life where you think don't those same principles in like what people would say to be successful at work and at school. I connect those same principles to relationships, fatherhood, to friendships, and I talk about every single thing that I experience. So the first couple chapters are about me growing up, seeing what addiction was through my father, right? The experience of waking up at night and seeing him pass out in the tub, and then asking the right questions, right? So I noticed I used to be like, why don't you just stop drinking? Just stop, right? It's making Ma angry. It's frustrating us. Like, why you keep doing this? Instead of asking it, and I guess it was the tone about like asking the right questions with the right tone.
Mm-hmm.
About what happened to you that makes you want to drink?
Wow.
Why do you drink? Why do you go there? What are you hiding? And then when I was able to ask those right questions, I got the right answers that I wanted to hear. And I heard that he couldn't feel like himself without this substance. So in my head, I'm translating like, okay, so if I just say what I want to say, do what I want to do full time, I won't ever need a substance to control my mood. And
Wow.
that's why I've never drank or smoked or did anything when I was growing up. And still to this day, it's because of those experiences with my father. So at the end of each chapter, I put questions for the reader to journal and discover themselves. So first question is, who do you need to talk to? What questions you need to ask? Go ask those questions and put down what happened. Right. So it's an experience with the book, and I go through, how I met my wife, how experiences of identifying what fear really is and how it starts from experiences with my daughter, seeing that she was never scared of anything and what happened to make her scared. Like, and then going, the first question is, what happened to you to build that fear? Like,
Wow.
when did it start? So like
Yeah.
the book is a journey of like connecting the dots of different type of experiences and then understanding like, oh dang, I am successful. I do it in these aspects of my life. I just got to transfer those principles or translate those principles into this area that I want to be successful in.
Wow,
And that's
that's
what the whole
amazing.
purpose of the book is.
I love that. I love that. I mean, you said so many bounds there. First, the first one that comes to mind, right? And it's something I've heard my mentor say to me a lot. It's like you got to ask yourself the right questions. Sometimes we don't get the right answers in life because we don't ask ourselves the right questions. So, for the audience that's listening, if you don't like the answers that you're getting in life, it's probably because you're not asking the right questions. So ask yourself, ask God, ask people, ask whatever it is, ask the right questions and you'll get the right answers. Another thing that you said that was amazing is the whole idea of translating success. And it's powerful. It's a powerful idea because I tend to believe that all of us have some areas that we're successful in, right? We have different things that we tend to excel in that we're naturally good at, but it's all, and you correct me if I'm wrong, it's all about just taking those same principles and translating it into other areas. And I
Yep.
think I grew up in the inner city. It sounds like you did as
Yeah.
well. But I grew up in the inner city, and you're surrounded by drugs and drug dealers, and a lot of people say I don't have any choices, is what I have to do. But all you gotta do is just translate the success, like those same principles. Like I go ahead.
Listen, like I come from it too. Like my father
Yeah,
was in the streets. And
yeah,
what I notice is that's an excuse.
yeah.
Because when I notice when you're driven and you're focused on achieving something in those areas, everybody leaves you alone.
Wow.
Like the thugs, the gangbangers, and all that, they used to be like, "Yo, leave him alone. He need to focus. He gonna make it out for us. He gonna do it."
Yeah.
But it took a lot of work. Like it took years of me. Like I went to the parks. I was getting beat down. I was getting embarrassed, but I kept getting up and I stayed quiet. And there was a lot of trash talking around me. I just kept working. I would show up to the park 5 hours before everybody, work out, play with everybody. Everybody would leave, and I'll stay 5 hours after. So much so that the coaches started getting my rebounds, and they said, "Do this, do that." And then I became this person that just outworked everybody, and I earned their respect. But I think people need to see that because I was there, right? I
Yeah.
was in those areas, and people people built that. I built that respect with people over time of just being driven. So I think people that aren't driven or aren't focused on what their target is, they get caught up in the game. It was
Yeah.
easy to tell my boys, nah, I'm not going to egg houses on junior year after we just won a tournament championship and we're in this celebratory mood. I'm not going to go do something stupid because I've got to go get my shots up
Right.
and go study for this test I got on Monday. And then I get to school on Monday, and my boys that asked me right before they did it, they were like calling me names or like, yo, you should do it, blah blah. Like, why you acting so like you better than us, this and that. And I just stayed focused on what my I just stayed focused on what my goal was.
Right.
And I simply said no. I did what I had to do. I came in on Monday and they ended up egging the wrong house, the assistant principal's house,
Oh
which
wow.
and they ended up getting suspended. And our junior year became something that was kind of like messed up because we didn't have our full team, right? And
Wow.
by the time we had our full team, it was already too late. So for me, I had experienced this time and time again where I stayed driven, I stayed focused, but and then life was showing me like you made the right decision. Because
Yeah.
if I waited and I showed my patience, like it was bigger than me at the moment. I wanted to get somewhere. I wanted to get out my household. I wanted to be the first man in my family to graduate from college. So all of that drove me to stay focused on not doing the wrong things while having a lot of the wrong things around me. My father was in that world as well, like hanging out with those people and doing those things as well. So it was easy for me to get in, but I think it's finding that target that you're trying to hit and staying focused through those tough times. That's what I tell kids all the time. It's easy to give in when you have a dream and you're
Yeah.
tired. You keep getting rejections and it don't work out the way you want it to work out. You stay driven, the work will show up over time. It becomes, it becomes second nature. And if your craft isn't second nature to you yet, you're not putting in the time you think you are.
Right. Yeah, that's
So
good. And we got some comments. So good. A person needs a vision. Deanna says so. That's true. Like vision is the thing that it keeps you from looking at everything else. And if
yeah,
you what I get from what you're saying is the more you're focused on your vision, everything else can't get your attention. And it's really that simple when you look at like where we go in life, how far we go in life. Really, what determines where we go is what has our attention and what we focus on. Is we hear versions of that since we were young, but unfortunately different things continue to draw us in and we get off track. And this can be no matter what level you're on. You can be stuck in middle class or stuck poor, stuck whatever, and you're trying to go to the next level. And if you don't keep that vision in front of you, you'll just get off track. But how do you?
absolutely.
So what advice would you give to someone that? Because I want to go back to the whole idea of thinking small. And where that comes in mind to me is thinking small is all about thinking about what are the small wins. How can I just create
Yeah,
small wins day by day by day? So
yeah,
what
yeah.
advice would you give for folks to create those small wins and to make those into those big wins that they want to create?
I'll give you one real quick that I hear from people all the time. I don't have the right people around me. There's not any influence around me. It's only on, social media and I don't feel like close to it. You got to find these mentors. You got to find these mentors. If you don't have those people around you right now, you need to shut it down and put yourself in places that may be uncomfortable for you. Go
Wow.
to events that you normally don't go to, and you might spark up conversations with like minded people. It could be anybody of any age. I think people get caught up. Finding a mentor could be of any age and
Yeah.
be able to build that relationship so that you can feel like there's a way out or you can feel like you're not crazy. You're
Right.
not the only one. And for
Yeah.
me, it was like I was trying to, like I told you about my father's relationship, and I like it was weird, it was odd, and I was seeking for that male presence, that swag and that confidence, and like I know who I am, I know what I'm about, and I had to search for that because that's the type of man I wanted to be. I saw it on Fresh Prince of Bel Air. I used to watch that show religiously, like Will Smith, Uncle Phil. Like
Wow.
I respected that, and I hear the songs by J. Cole and all that. Like I wanted that too, so I was working towards that. But with me, it wasn't like I have to wait to a certain age. It was who do I need to find around me that I'm not seeing now that can help me start building right now. And I think we get caught up on just the people that we're interacting with, or we're forced to be around family and all that, that we're not seeing the people that can help us right in front of us.
Wow.
And it could be as simple as you just pushing yourself to have those conversations, going to those events that may feel uncomfortable, that will urge you to normalize that in your life. And as you get older, that's what makes people successful.
Right.
Going to these history events, going to have those conversations that people are scared to talk about. What are they gonna think about me? I don't want to look this way and look that way. It don't matter. The most successful people don't care, and they
Right.
just go, and if they sound dumb or stupid the first time, the next time they get a little better and a little better. And I think that's why I like doing podcasts as well, because I like hearing myself over. And right now in my head, like, to be completely vulnerable with you guys, I'm trying so hard not to say because I noticed that I say when I'm relaxed in the podcast interview, and I say every 2 seconds. And I heard the last interview that I did, and I'm saying a lot. And I'm like, yo, I need to fix that. So let me focus and dial in. So I'm getting my reps up. I'm getting my shots up, just like I did with basketball. I'm doing it now,
Yeah.
where I'm focusing on trying to master my craft, and it can be as little as that. That's as little as I'm talking about, like
Yeah.
me fixing my speech. and putting myself in an uncomfortable situation where I'm like, I wasn't that good on the last one. I need to get better, so I'm gonna get on another one.
Wow, that's good. And it's just just all you gotta do is get a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure people have heard this analogy, but it's like the different. I think Tony Robbins says this, but like when you hit a golf ball, right?
Mm.
It where it starts, right? If it's off just by just a millimeter from one place to another where it starts, like the difference in
Yeah.
trajectory is like the farther it goes, the farther apart the trajectory gets. So all
Yeah.
you gotta do is just make those millimeter decisions, that those small wins. Just focus on
Yeah.
the small wins, and those small wins will ultimately lead to the big wins that we want to create. But one of the things that you said is surrounding yourself with people that are where you want to be. So that's a small thing. Going to that event is like a small thing. Going to meet someone that makes you a little bit uncomfortable, that's a small win. But a year, 2, 3 years from now, when that person is your best friend, or that person is someone that wants to position you or give you an opportunity or introduce you to someone else that leads to $1 million deal, it can go a lot of different ways. Go ahead.
And to go off of that too, because I'm gonna be very specific.
Yeah.
When choosing those people, I think people get caught up in it's. We need to be realistic. It's easy to find people to tell you what you want to hear. It's easy because people don't like confrontation and conflict.
Right.
But here's what we need to learn: confrontation is necessary. Conflict is when you need help.
Wow.
That's when you need to walk away. Confrontation is necessary. I like to find truth tellers around me. So much so, I married one. My wife would tell me when I do not sound good,
Oh,
when I
you
do
too,
not look
huh?
good. Yeah, yeah. And I appreciate that. My best friend, he's working on his Nathaniel Bowie. We went to college together. He's working on his doctorates right now, doing great things in the educational space. Assistant principal in New York City, and he's like everybody on my book. I got 38 reviews on my book on Amazon. All of them are fives, 5 stars, except for Nate's.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and Nate is my boy, and I
Yeah.
respect that because he's willing to always. And it's not no hating.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you can tell when someone hating.
Yeah.
It's him really seeing what needs improvement and giving me that feedback to make me better as a person. And I think when we are able to look at those type of people as valuable, then you will be able to get where you're trying to get to faster. We get caught up in afraid of confrontation when the best relationships that I've been in and I've witnessed came out of a misunderstanding, uncomfortable, sweaty palms, get in that confrontation, and then you understand like, oh dang, either this person is just like me or I completely misread this person.
Yeah.
Now I get it, and now we can talk. And I think people need to stop being afraid of confrontation. Confrontation is something that needs to happen so an understanding, a better
Yep.
understanding of two people can happen. And having those truth tellers. When I'm talking about mentors, don't find somebody. It's good to have hype men and hype women around you. But you want to get those truth tellers to get you to always want to do better. Because if you're trying to be successful and be successful for a long period of time, you're always improving. You got to be that old person that's always asking questions and learning something new. Those are the happiest people that I've seen. Those are the people that live the longest,
Yep.
that always have a question to ask and always interested in new information.
Yeah, that's good. That's amazing, and it's so true. You gotta have somebody that's gonna tell you the truth, and because you
Yep.
you can. It's easy to get full of yourself. It's easy to
Yep.
be like, man, I'm sweet with it, but then you talk to somebody and they like, you could have did
Yep.
this. Like that was, 7 out of 10. You
Yeah.
gotta
Yeah.
hear that. And
Yeah.
the other aspect of that is, and it's probably probably top 5 life lessons, is you have to be humble, man. You
Yeah.
gotta,
Absolutely.
you gotta be absolutely humble and be clothed in humility, if you will. And you just gotta know that yeah, I'm going somewhere. I see myself a certain way, but there's a lot more that I can learn. So, but I mean, we're about 37 minutes in, and I just got a few last parting questions for you. Really connected to how to master your day, and really this entire episode has been about that. If you all didn't catch it, how to master your life, master your day. But one thing I want to ask you, like, what is that one thing that you would keep in your day? Like, no one can take this. I need to do this one thing in my day in order to be successful. What would you say is that one thing that makes your day work for you?
I got a couple.
Nice.
I got a couple.
Yeah.
Um, One, I force myself to smile in the morning. It's weird, but I force
Yeah.
myself to smile because I think the muscles in your face, your mood reacts to the way your muscles move, right? I heard
Yeah.
that somewhere.
Yeah.
And when first thing I wake up and I'm laying in my bed, no matter how I feel, I force myself to smile.
That's
So that's the
good.
first thing. I think your body reacts, your mind reacts to how your body moves. So smiling is the first thing that I do. Second thing, to get deeper, in my wallet, I keep behind my ID, I keep my father's ID.
Wow.
So, just knowing that he's always with me,
Yep.
not in body anymore, but in spirit,
Yep.
and just keeping him close to me and as a reminder of what I'm doing with my work,
Yep.
right? And as I said before, it has to be a lifestyle. So the last thing that I would say, those are the things that work for me. But the last thing that I would say is understanding that no matter where I'm at life, I gotta continue to get better and know that I'm gonna have mistakes. I'm gonna have slip ups. But with those, I have to be able to be willing to address immediately and listen. And that is how true work can be done if you can listen to what is needed and fill the gaps in your life. I think we get caught up in trying to figure out a way to be successful when there's no need in where you're trying to go, right?
Yep.
Instead of just looking at your life and filling gaps that you see in your life. And that's as small as you can get.
That's good.
Like everything that I do connect.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything that I do connect. So smile, um, have something personal that you can carry with you or think about that connects to your real life purpose. And then last, be willing and open to feedback, correct yourself, and be okay with the bad days because they're coming. You can't run away from, no matter how successful you get, they're coming. One story I'll leave you with is my father talked about retirement all of his career as a construction worker. With all his uh, trauma and addictions and everything that he had going on, this man never missed a day of work. He worked for this company for 35 years straight. And he kept talking, he worked hard. One time, I knew I wanted to go to college because he had me work with him for a summer. And I was like, yeah, this ain't for me.
Yeah.
I'm with my schooling. So
Yeah.
he worked hard. And I heard him constantly. I can't wait till I retire. I can't wait till I retire. I'm gonna travel. I'm gonna travel. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. And the closer he got to it, I believe he got more and more scared because he didn't address things little by little, day by day. And then he ended up taking his own life.
Wow.
But a couple months before his retirement. So when I say on like be willing to work on it now, don't waste time because when you're trying to aim for this goal and just thinking it's going to happen when you get there and you're not working on it daily, you can end up feeling too much weight on you that you get overwhelmed. And I think that's what happened to my father, and I don't want that happening to somebody else. So that's the best thing. I know that was long winded. I
No, that
apologize.
was amazing. And one a quote comes to mind. I think Les Brown says it, but life is a fight for territory. Once you stop
Uh,
fighting for what you want, what you don't want will automatically take over. And
Love Les Brown.
yeah, yeah,
Love Les Brown.
and it's so true that that's it's that simple. What happens is we stop fighting for what we want. We stop fighting, like you said, just making those small little adjustments and improvements, we stop fighting for that. And then what happens is darkness or the devil, whatever you want to call it, it just starts to slowly take over our mind until unfortunately it leads us to give up on life or give up on our dreams, just give up on people, give up on relationships. And it may not be just throwing in the towel completely. It could be just settling for less. You know, I mean, that's a silent death right there. I mean, the settling for less and just not going after your dreams. And just to conclude, another awesome thing that you said. Thank you for the affirmation, lifting my spirit. Thank you, man. Small wins. They're just daily small. That's some good stuff. Another thing that you said, and another quote came to mind is that whole idea of feedback. Life is feedback, and what happens is we take things in our life where we make it mean something, and when the moment we make it mean something, we typically make it mean something negative. But feedback is another quote. Is I forget who it comes from, but it's feedback is often harsh, but it's always fair. Often harsh, but always fair. But you just gotta accept that feedback. Don't take it as positive. Don't take it as negative. Just take it as feedback, and then make those small adjustments. But Carlos, man, you've been amazing, man. Thank you so much for your vulnerability, for sharing your story. Where can people find information about your curriculum, about your book, about all the different things you got going on?
Everything's on my website. If you go to my website, www.cjmotivation.com, and Instagram, CJ Motivation. My name is Carlos J. Malave, so I just abbreviated it CJ Motivation. You can find all my information. My book is on Amazon, Translating Success. That's also on my website as well. But my website has everything on there. CJ Motivation has my program, my curriculum itself, my speaking engagements, my social media profiles, and everything like that. So you can look me up there, or just type my name into Google and I should pop up.
That's some awesome stuff. Like that's the ultimate flex, right? Just type my name into Google and I'll
Yeah.
pop up. That's good.
Just remember the J in between the Carlos and the Malave, because I realized I Googled it. I
Yeah.
did this strategically, CJM and all that, because there's a
Yeah.
lot of people. Like I used to go to the playground and my dad be like, Carlos, and 10 heads will turn around. I used to hate that.
Yeah.
Same
That's
thing on
good.
Google. Like if you type in my name, a bunch of Carloses come up. You have to look for Carlos J.
Yeah.
Malave. I should pop up.
That's good, man. And just to conclude, y'all, I've seen some of the testimonials from his curriculum program. If you're a speaker, trainer, you're in that line of work. I've seen some of the testimonials. People making tens of $1,000s from his program, and I'm not sure. I know he's done the same for it himself. If he's helping others do the same, so please feel free to reach out to him. And this has been an awesome episode of Master Your Day, Master Your Life. Thank you again, Carlos. We'll see you all on the other side. Peace.